So I got to give it to Warner Bros. Montreal for actually coming up with a second Heroic Assault, even though it's something that, there's contention as to the quality. Some people have said, it would be better if they actually made a full-blown DLC and so on and so forth. But usually when I judge content, I judge it based on what I paid for the content. And in regard to this particular content piece, it's free. And so that's how we're going to look at it. Now, if this was a paid DLC, we'll be having a whole different conversation about the quality of Heroic Assault. But for a free incursion raid style, 4-player co-op mode, I think this is actually a very solid proposition. I've been playing it now for a few days, which the very first one, I didn't even play it till the end. That's crazy because that Star one seemed to me like they came in to kind of maybe prolong a lot of the, mission structures and allow for it to just be one of those things where they wanted you to keep playing over and over and over again. And I didn't necessarily feel it. And you could tell from the level design how that one kind of dragged a little bit, the way they actually set up some of the levels and so on and so forth. Whereas in this particular Heroic Assault here with the Heroic Assault 2, the Kelvin incident, they've made it kind of a straight shot where, okay, instead of you just basically spending a lot of your time in, perusing a lot of the different areas because of the way they've designed the navigation, why not just go straight to your objective and just start beating on bad guys and start making the objectives a thing? Not only did they do that, they added the new gear tier called the Mythic Gear, which is actually pretty cool, very strong. In fact, it actually shows how you can actually be very, very strong in this game. And if you want to test it out, let me give you an example. Maybe say you farm your way up to level 72 gear, and then you go in for a quick match and somebody is like maybe level 60 something. You will basically one tap every enemy NPC. I mean, that's obvious for an RPG, but it's really funny to see how it's actually very different regarding how, the power level is just has such a disparity between how much you can get powerful and how the enemies can stay weaker as you're going through. And in my opinion, I think this is something that a lot of people are probably going to enjoy as they're getting in. I've been, hopping into quick matches. I've been seeing people play. I don't know what the numbers are, but I've always had a quick match within 20 seconds. Some of you even watch my stream where I joined a random group and they basically kind of carried all the way through the first, the last few levels. And I made my way to the end and we just beat it. And I got level 80 gear with my Robin. So that was quite nice. Now I'm going back with the other characters to do the same thing. So that really does provide another layer of gameplay. The question now that I think is on table is, do people really, think that there will be more content in regard to, say, possibly a DLC, or is that something that needs to be talked about or done right now? Or does this need to be, in my opinion, what I think the developers can capitalize on by continuing to drop free content for people who want to play the game as they are working on their other video game that is in production? Many of you, or or maybe you do not know that Warner Bros. Montreal has moved, a lot of its development, or at least a substantial amount, or maybe a small amount. I don't know. I mean, we don't know. We saw that they're hiring for a DC game, right? If you go on their Warner Bros. Job page, you'll see that they're hiring for some kind of role of different developers that are going to be able to come in and make games based on the DC side of things. And when you kind of think about it, you can always say that these roles could mean, that all they want is, somebody to just maybe come in and continue to expand on their game, but it doesn't necessarily seem like that's pretty much what it is that they want to do. You can go on their website and look through it. I don't want to do a lot of job description looking right now because I feel like we did that before Gotham Knights released and we knew how Gotham Knights was going to go. I knew that Gotham Knights was going to be like this, especially when they were looking for, the role to hire their community manager. I don't know many of you who know or don't know. Let me show you, kind of like the hiring page, just a quick glimpse. This young lady over here is I think this is the community manager for Warner Bros. Montreal. Her name is Pauline, and she was brought in to actually kind of like set up a community style interaction in order for people to constantly log into the game daily. The job description before they revealed who was hired for the position had that particular, terminology. I have a video of it from like 2-3 years ago. Because that page has changed, obviously. But that's pretty much one of the clues that got me into knowing that Gotham Knights was going to be going this direction. And we made all the videos, we talked about it, but a lot of people didn't really dial in until the game eventually came out. So their perception of the game was, oh, look, a new Batman game. Maybe it's going to look something like, maybe the Arkham games. And then, no, it was supposed to look something like some sort of a live service light version in a sense. And Heroic Assault is kind of the live service element of Gotham Knights. But overall, the game is a single player experience. So even the DLC side and the story side is something that we don't necessarily know how that's going to look. Now, one thing I want to talk about too is, if you guys know, here on the screen as you're watching, you see that I'm playing a Matter of Family DLC, a clip from the DLC in Batman Arkham Knight. This DLC was developed by Warner Brothers Montreal. Some of you know, or maybe you don't know. And so the prospect of getting a DLC is something where maybe if there's actually a team of people that are working on doing something like that, then we might see it. But I don't know, or we don't know if there's actually the allocation of developers to be working on DLC for Gotham Knights like there was for, Rocksteady when they were doing their project. And that's one thing that's making me say, maybe it might be in a position where we maybe need to be talking about possibly having to expect that the team is moving on to their next project. So these are some things that you have to pay very close attention to. And I understand, people are really enjoying the game, or people would love to see more, but you also have to go ahead and think about the overly reactionary gaming scene that we have today, where every little thing is a problem. Every big thing is a problem. I mean, look at Jedi Survivor. Some people had a bad issue with the game, and in their own right, they have a reason to be upset, but then that's what's crowded the overall news of the game. Whereas the game is actually a pretty freaking good game. I've played about 5 hours and I'm taking my time. I'm not making the video to make a review. I'm not playing the game to do a review. You guys know I'm not going to be doing reviews anymore. I can't stand reviews for the most part. Only a few reviewers here, and I'm going to be listening to like podcasts now. I will listen to his review and people in our community here. But for the most part, mainstream reviews, they're all washed to me and throw away. Because, for the most part, the way Gotham Knights was actually seen and treated, especially with the lies. These reviewers lied. Skill Up lied. Luke Stevens lied. What's his name? White lied about Gotham Knights. And I have videos proving that they actually did lie about these particular elements in the game. So I've just kind of lost, in my opinion anyways, interest to care what anybody says about a video game. But that usually can affect sales. That can affect all kinds of different metrics and possibilities for video games. So even when you start seeing people do things like that for games that you don't want to play, games that you don't want to play, like say Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, you also have to understand that might have a, kind of a down the road effect that, you might not necessarily be able to measure as to how that's going to be, overall, how the collapse is going to eventually move. And so this is just where we are. I mean, I would have not minded if Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League came out and then, people who wanted to play it will play it. And then, the development team or the publisher will realize, well, maybe people don't really want a game like this, but can't tell them to not make live service games because, they want to make that live service money. It's on the minds of all of these companies at the end of the day. But anyways, with Heroic Assault 2, I think the team at Warner Bros. Montreal have actually outdone themselves. They didn't, make a live service game, but they did make a small element of it that, kind of had replayability, a constant loop that you can continue to play. You can help people. You can just jump in just to kind of test out your gear. That's one thing about games like these, is they really have these elements that people can capitalize on as time goes on. But I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. And let me know if you have any thoughts in the comment section. We'll talk soon. Peace out.